The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. This is a civil emergency message, active immediately and until further notice. At 8:25 p.m. local time, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office received a missing persons report for a young woman by the name of Taylor Castillo. Taylor is 19 years old, 5 foot 4 inches, 110 pounds, and is of Hispanic American descent. She has brown eyes and dark blonde hair. She was last seen wearing a pair of black jeans and blue-colored shirt. At this time, the whereabouts of Taylor Castillo are unknown. If you have any information that can lead to the safe return of Taylor Castillo, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office immediately. She seemingly disappeared without a trace, and there are no suspects or potential runaway vehicles at this time. Repeating, if you have any information that can lead to the safe return of Taylor Castillo, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office immediately. For further information, tune into your local news station now.
Good morning, folks. My name is James Bold with First Coast Weather and News, with my co-host Chris Weatherford. Over the past 2 weeks, various child abductions and missing persons cases have popped up, far more than we are used to seeing. We're unsure if there are any connections between the disappearances, as the police have been slow to respond to my emails. One case in particular caught my eye, though: Taylor Castillo, a college student at the St. Johns River State College in Orange Park. She was only 19 years old.
From what we've heard, Taylor was last seen leaving a friend's house on West 24th Street, heading east walking home. If you see this girl, please call the police immediately. The police are relying heavily on public word, so if you have any information, please contact the Jacksonville Police Non-Emergency Line.
God, she looks like my daughter. It would be a shame to see anything happen to her.
It really would. The Jacksonville Police are working in conjunction with the FBI, the Duval County Sheriff's Office, and the Florida Highway Patrol. As stated earlier, if you have any information on Taylor's whereabouts, please contact the authorities.
Right. Moving into our next story: how you and your family can stay safe in the summer heat. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Bold from First Coast Weather and News, with my co-host Chris Weatherford. Going into today's first story, audience discretion is advised. Last night at around 8:30 p.m., me and Chris were participating in a local search party for missing Clay County resident Taylor Castillo. Unfortunately, the body of Taylor was discovered deep in the forest. Taylor is now the 7th victim in a string of missing persons cases in the past 2 weeks across the First Coast area.
Police have searched the area, but no one found cameras or a weapon. If you have any information regarding this situation, please contact the Jacksonville Police Department.
God, it really was a sight for sore eyes.
James, you did good. You gave closure to a family. And with what you found, the police can now launch a larger investigation. You did good.
Thanks, Chris. For our next story, gas prices are on the rise, so Chris will be providing tips on how to increase your vehicle's fuel mileage.
Hey, James, you feeling okay? You look a little pale.
How about you just back off? I am not in the mood for your damn antics today. Don't you dare make fun of my mask.
Whoa, all right, I'm sorry. I'm just checking to make sure you're okay.
I don't need you poking around in my personal life. Now let's go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Bold with First Coast Weather and News, here with my co-host, Chris Weatherford.
Good morning, Jacksonville. We've got a few stories from around the First Coast area.
And to start it off, a 34-year-old homeowner from a neighborhood in Brentwood is in a battle against the Jacksonville court system over homeowner regulations regarding the maintenance of houses in an HOA. You know, HOAs are joke. I seriously cannot believe we've become so complacent with being controlled to the point that someone else makes rules for the house you live in. Shut up!
And in other news, Jacksonville Water and Power...
I wasn't done talking. We should be able to freely live in our homes.
James, you're expressing feelings, not facts. Get your head on straight.
You know, Chris, have you ever considered that your head isn't on straight? I mean, we are people who have our own views and beliefs, and it's important we respect that.
You're right. I'm sorry. Carry on.
Thank you. Jacksonville Water and Power will be sending out messages to customers over the weekend.
The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. A law enforcement warning has been issued for downtown Jacksonville, active immediately and until further notice. At 11:15 this morning, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office received numerous distress calls from the Duval County Clerk of Courts building in downtown Jacksonville. Reports from numerous county workers have stated that a large brawl is currently underway within the courthouse. The cause of this fight is currently unknown. Police forces are currently en route to assess and contain the situation. Citizens in Jacksonville are being advised to remain away from the courthouse until further notice. Please remain off the roads in a 3-block radius around the courthouse, as police cars and EMT units are currently en route. For reference, the Duval County Clerk of Courts building is located around 3 blocks south of the Florida State College building in downtown Jacksonville. Thank you for your cooperation. It is greatly appreciated. For further information, tune into your local news station now. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Miami Police Department. A civil danger warning has been issued for downtown Miami, active immediately and until further notice. At 11:18 local time, reports began to flood the Miami Police Department of a mass shooting situation underway at the Red Brickle restaurant in downtown Miami. Many of the reports sent by citizens state this is a politically motivated shooting that spawned due to a fight that broke out over a heated debate. The Miami Police Department is currently en route to apprehend the perpetrator of this attack. At this time, it is unknown if the shooter is still alive. Regardless, this should still be treated as an active shooter situation. As of this time, everyone within a 5-block radius of the Red Brickle restaurant is being urged to shelter in place immediately. To shelter in place, lock all doors, windows, and other entrances to your home. Remain away from windows, and turn off any lights or light-producing electronics in your home. Thank you for your cooperation. It is greatly appreciated. For further information, tune into your local news station now.
Good morning, Floridians. My name is James Bold with First Coast Weather and News, but you already know that. Unfortunately, I have to skip the flatteries today and get right down into the mud with this story, where once again another mass shooting rocks America. This time it was here in our home state, all the way south in downtown Miami. There's a lot we still don't know so far, but here's what we know from the Miami-Dade Police Department. In an official statement released by the Miami-Dade Police Department, the sheriff states, "Earlier this morning, suspect Antonio Knowles opened fire after a heated political altercation within the Red Brickle restaurant on the evening of July 4, 2023. The attack was carried out with 2 AR-15 style rifles, a semi-automatic shotgun, and 2 handguns. As of now, 28 people have been killed and 45 people were injured. Andrew Knowles was shot dead at the scene after a 10-minute-long firefight with law enforcement, so here we are again. In the wake of another mass shooting, hundreds of lives torn apart both directly and indirectly, and for what? Those people were sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, friends, partners, husbands, and wives, all because of the selfishness of one man by the name of Andrew Knowles. That is as far as I am going to discuss the shooter. Many mainstream media outlets love to plaster the faces of these sick fucks all over the air, but I will not be giving that scumbag what he wants, attention. Instead, I would rather focus on the issue of gun violence in America. There are many issues that contribute to the issue of gun violence, some of which include loose restrictions on the sale of firearms in some states, the widespread epidemic of chronic mental health conditions, and an overall decreasing quality of life here in America. I would never defend a mass shooter. They are the lowest of the low, not even worthy of the dirt we walk on. But it's obvious what is going on here. Humanity, or more specifically Americans, are screaming out in pain and frustration with the system and the life our government has helped box us into. It's time something is done about gun violence in America. How many more innocent people have to die to incite change? Does a politician need to die to incite change? I don't know what the answer is, but I am sick and tired of watching this world burn, and I intend to do something about it. We need to tear down the system that holds us down. The Founding Fathers warned about the tribal nature of a two-party system and how it could potentially lead to America's demise. At the end of the day, there's so much more to life than Republicans and Democrats. A lot more things influence our direction in life than politics. But unfortunately, politics have continued to bleed more and more into our everyday lives. When will the violence end? Gun violence is only one piece to a much bigger puzzle, the puzzle of how to truly rebuild America. I won't claim to have a specific answer, but if it was up to me, we need to get rid of the things that divide and pull us apart. The two-party political system is inherently toxic to our democracy. This has been especially apparent since the beginning of the COVID pandemic. The answer to our problems will not come from one specific person, but the will of the people in our entirety. Think on it, America. We can't just sink lower and lower into hell. Somebody has to grab the wheel and take control. Until things improve, I will continue to use my platform to fight for genuine change for my fellow Americans. Thank you, everyone.
The following message is being transmitted at the request of civil authorities within the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. At 8:32 a.m. local time, a large explosion occurred from within the Knoxville Convention Hall in downtown Knoxville, Tennessee. At the time of the blast, the convention hall was hosting the Republican National Convention for the 2024 presidential election. While it has not been confirmed, yet authorities claim it is very likely that there was a political motive behind this explosion. Whether it was an act of foreign or domestic terrorism remains unknown as of this time. A large fire has begun to consume the convention hall, and may spread to surrounding buildings. All residents within a quarter-mile radius of the hall are being asked to evacuate away from the area immediately. Law enforcement and medical personnel are currently en route to help assist in the situation. Repeating, a large explosion occurred from within the Knoxville Convention Hall in downtown Knoxville, Tennessee. All civilians within a quarter-mile radius are being asked to evacuate away from the scene immediately. For further information, tune into your local news station now. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Chicago Police Department. A law enforcement warning has been issued for the city of Chicago, active immediately and until further notice. Over the past 15 minutes, dozens of distressed phone calls came in from citizens, stating that a mass shooting situation is underway at the Chicago Convention Hall in downtown Chicago. It is believed that this attack is politically motivated. All residents within a quarter-mile radius of the convention hall are being urged to shelter in place and to remain off the streets. SWAT teams and medical aid are en route to the convention hall as of this time. Repeating, a mass shooting situation is currently underway at the Chicago Convention Hall. All residents within a quarter-mile radius are being asked to shelter in place until an all-clear message is given. Thank you for your cooperation. It is greatly appreciated. For further information, tune into your local news station now.
Mr. Leo, I'm sure you've heard about the situation that is going on within your city, correct?
With James Bold? Yeah, most people seem to love the guy. But something seems off lately. This isn't the James Bold I remember. He was much more mild-mannered, and not as much of a political extremist.
The FBI and CIA have found evidence that the recent attacks on the Democratic and Republican national conventions could have been partially sparked by Bold's rhetoric.
Since when do the people not want our heads on a stake? All it takes is one guy to get them riled up at us.
I know. One Alex Jones walks out, and another one is right back in, huh?
Right. It never ends with these guys. But right now, I don't think there's enough proof that James directly helped influence those events.
That's fair enough, but you need to keep an eye on him. He could be dangerous.
We will. We can promise you that.
The following message is being transmitted at the request of the state government of Texas. A civil danger warning has been issued for the city of Waco, active immediately and until further notice. Earlier this evening, the Waco Police Department received numerous bomb threats, with all of the calls tracing back to different locations in the city. At 6:45 p.m. local time, 3 different explosions were reported at the Waco airport, in addition to multiple explosions rocking downtown Waco. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Law enforcement and bomb squads have been working to track down any additional bombs, but so far have found none. The perpetrator behind these bombings is unknown, along with their motive. All residents are being asked to remain indoors until an all-clear message is given. Destruction from the explosions have made many parts of Waco unsafe to travel through, especially near the Technology Village subdivision. Thank you for your cooperation. It has been greatly appreciated. Repeating, multiple explosions have occurred throughout the city of Waco, Texas. All residents are being urged to remain indoors until an all-clear message is given. For further information on this developing story, tune into your local news station now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is James Bold, lead news anchor and meteorologist for First Coast Weather and News. My partner Chris is here with me today to help with the morning news. For our first story, a devastating scene comes out of the city of Waco, Texas. Last night, a total of 11 different explosions occurred in and around the city of Waco, killing 189 people and injuring hundreds more.
Law enforcement managed to apprehend the perpetrator, who for now remains unidentified. The Waco Police Department issued a statement on the bombing, claiming that it was a politically motivated attack. From what they could gather, the man behind the bombings was radicalized by internet personalities online. It really makes you think of the kind of power we hold.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, I'm just saying sometimes things can get a little heated on air. We have to be careful with what we say because some people will go along with whatever their favorite person says.
My fans are free thinkers just like me. I think we should be allowed to say anything we want on air, even if it offends some people.
Even if it leads to real-world violence?
If people decide to derive a violent message from what I say, that's on them.
You can't be serious, James.
I'm not responsible for what random people do.
You know, James, you've been a lot more cold ever since you got that stupid mask. I wish I'd never given it to you.
It helps me think, okay? Ever since I got this thing, my mind has been working better than ever. And the show has never had better ratings.
So that's what it's about? Ratings?
No, Chris. It's about spreading our message far and wide. I have a platform, and I intend to use it. You're either with me or against me, Chris.
I'm sorry, James. I can't be a part of this anymore.
That's what I thought, you spineless coward. Get the hell out of my studio.
I don't know who the hell you think you're talking to, but I ain't taking it. Have fun with your stupid fucking show.
I'm sorry about that, folks. Unfortunately, some people just don't understand my vision. But that's okay. I can do this alone. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. For our next story, a report from the United States government claims political extremism has risen tenfold since 2020.
The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. A law enforcement warning has been issued for the city of Jacksonville, active immediately and until further notice. At around 9 a.m. this morning, law enforcement was attempting to execute a search warrant in the Clifton subdivision of Jacksonville, when they were met with armed resistance. As of now, law enforcement have not revealed the nature of the full nature behind the situation. All residents in and around the Clifton subdivision are being asked to remain indoors until an all-clear message is given. The police raid was reported to be taking place at the Pier 5350 apartment complex, just a block away from the Matthews Bridge. The apartment complex itself was heavily fortified, and law enforcement have not been able to make vocal contact with the men inside. It is unknown if there are any hostages or accomplices to the shooter. Repeating, a heavily armed man is barricaded inside the Pier 5350 apartment complex in the Clifton subdivision of Jacksonville. For further information, tune into your local news station now. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. A local area emergency is currently underway within the city of Jacksonville, Florida. At around 9 a.m. local time, law enforcement was attempting to execute a search warrant in the Clifton subdivision of Jacksonville, when they were met with armed resistance. As of now, no police officers or citizens have been harmed as of this time. Upon further investigation, it seems that the identity of the barricaded man is local media personality James Bold. At this time, it is currently unknown what the reasoning behind the man's strange behavior is. While it is unlikely that James Bold poses any threat to civilians in the area, residents in the Clifton subdivision are being asked to shelter in place at this time as a precaution. Law enforcement is currently trying to de-escalate the situation in Clifton, but it seems that little progress has been made. Repeating, law enforcement is currently working to apprehend a man who is barricaded inside his home in the Clifton subdivision of Jacksonville. For further information, tune into your local news station now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is James Bold, and it's another lovely day here on the first coast of Florida. The birds are singing, the flowers are blooming, and the SWAT team is at my goddamn door. I was not informed by the state of Florida that I had an outstanding arrest warrant active in my name. But hey, what else is new around here? I have had viewers calling into me ever since 9 a.m. wondering if I am okay, and I can say I am doing fine. I know things may look dire at the moment, but you know I always find a way out of a mess. I have to say, I appreciate those of you who have turned up to help protect me, though it wasn't necessary. I fear no man, especially not a man who works for the government. Hopefully, things will settle.
James, it's me, Leo. What's going on with you, man? This ain't you.
What do you mean this isn't me?
Can you please just come outside and talk to me?
Hell no. I know you still have the police out there. Why am I even under arrest anyway?
James, I think you know exactly why I'm here. You can't just go on the air and spout your bullshit rhetoric without considering your position.
Who are you to tell me how to use my position, Leo? I've worked for over 2 decades in this business. I'll do as I please. Now just leave me alone.
Alright, whatever. But you're gonna have to come out of there eventually.
Over my dead body.
Just don't hurt yourself, please.
I'm sorry, folks, but unfortunately I may have to cut this broadcast short. You'll see me again soon, don't worry. Hello again, everyone. I'm sorry I've been quiet for so long. My name is James Bold with First Coast Weather and News, possibly for the last time. Law enforcement has still not left me alone. I have not been able to sleep for 3 days. I feel so weak, like my body is rotting from the inside out. I don't know what the hell they did to me. I don't know what's happening. I'm reaching the end of my rope here. Please continue the fight for us. Push back against those who hold you down and make a better world for everyone. That's all I ever wanted to see.
Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, please open the door. We have you surrounded.
Good afternoon, Gainesville. My name is Isaac King with your 12 o'clock news, and we're going to get right into it. A 3-day-long standoff in the city of Jacksonville has finally come to a close. On the morning of September 2nd, 2024, Florida newscaster James Bold resisted an outstanding arrest warrant in a small apartment complex in the Clifton subdivision of Jacksonville. For 3 days, he argued with police and continued to broadcast through his own rogue radio station before mysteriously falling ill this morning. We have to warn you that some of the following details may be disturbing to some viewers. At around 9 a.m. this morning, law enforcement managed to get into the apartment complex James was staying at after much resistance from rabid fans. Unfortunately, James Bold was found dead inside of the Pier 5350 apartment complex at the age of 57. The cause behind his death has still not been revealed. Members from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office stated that the room James was found in looked like a scene from a horror movie. Almost everything in the room was completely coated in blood, despite James being the only one found injured in the apartment. James's body was also found in terrible condition, seeming as if had been decaying for upwards of 3 days. All of these facts have stunned law enforcement, and JSO has filed a request for more assistance from the state of Florida. In the wake of Mr. Bold's death, numerous riots have broken out around the country. In recent months, James had made a name for himself by discussing politically charged topics on what used to be just an independent news broadcast. In that short time, James won the hearts of millions of people, and some of those people are furious. While there have been no reported fatalities from riots so far, multiple JSO officers have been injured trying to keep crowds under control. Other cities in Florida have seen unrest in the wake of this morning's events, including Tampa, Orlando, Miami, and Tallahassee. All in all, we are left with more questions with answers. Regardless, we will keep you updated on this case as it develops further. For our next story, Hurricane Ingrid continues to churn off the eastern seaboard of Florida. All in all, we are left with more questions than answers.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for the man on your Christmas list? Take this simple quiz. Does someone you know like sports? Watch sports? Yes!
Neil, your time is up. People are dead because of your lack of competence.
Relax. You're only adding stress to an already stressful situation. Your so-called problem solving isn't really working. I've got a team moving in with the National Guard. They've got a rough location on 035. Don't do anything rash.
No, you've had your moment. And besides, about time you guys got some sunshine.
No, Thompson, wait!
Following is a civil emergency message, which is being transmitted at the request of the state government of Florida. On the evening of September 9, 2024, martial law was temporarily implemented for the city of Jacksonville due to extremely hazardous conditions related to mass riots. The National Guard has spent the past 2 days gaining control of the city, taking care of any holdouts. The lockdown order will be lifted at 8 a.m. this morning. Thank you for your cooperation. It has been greatly appreciated. The civil emergency for the city of Jacksonville has officially ended. There is no longer an active threat to your safety. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Lake City. It is a gorgeous morning out here in the Big Bend of Florida. Today on 97.5 WBND The Bends, we're going to be tuning into a presidential address out of Washington, D.C. from President Thompson. While the topic of the address is still unknown, many journalists have theorized it has to do with the civil unrest in the city of Jacksonville. Here we go. Let's get started.
For many years, the government has been secretive to its citizens. You may question why that is, but often enough, the ends justify the means. But unfortunately, this time, the cat was let out of the bag in the most dramatic way possible. Over the past few months, our country has undergone an immense amount of strain at the hands of political turmoil. The rise in political instability was fostered by a man by the name of James Bold from the city of Jacksonville. He was not a hateful man, as we have come to learn. There was something truly sinister, something evil down in Dixie. I've mulled over the details of how this moment would play out. Really? I don't think there's any reasonable way to tell you this. For many years, the United States government has been cooperating with an entity known as the SCP Foundation. I want to make it very clear that this foundation is not a subsidiary of the United States government. The foundation is its own independent entity. Their purpose is to secure, contain, and protect. The question is, What do they secure and contain? There's no other way to say this other than monsters are real in our world. The paranormal, the things that go bump in the night, not all of that is just legend. I know that is a lot to digest, but we must continue. What does the SCP Foundation have to do with the situation in Jacksonville? It is believed an entity known as SCP-035 had been taking lives in the Jacksonville area since the middle of May. 035 manifests itself as a white porcelain theater mask. It is said to have the ability to read minds and communicate telepathically. People who get within 6 feet of the mask will often experience a strong urge to put it on. Once the mask is on, there is no way to take it off. Victims of 035 will often die within a matter of weeks as it corrodes their body away. Victims of 035 will often die within a matter of weeks as it corrodes their body away. However, it is still possible for 035 to control a body long past the point where it should be physically able to function. These are the types of things that exist just beyond our normal field of view. I didn't even believe in ghosts until I learned about this foundation. Now, I don't know if there's even a limit to what can be out there. Begrudgingly, the United States will continue to work with the SCP Foundation. Believe me, after this chicanery, I never want to hear the name phrase SCP again. But unfortunately, I feel responsible for what has happened in Jacksonville. I was only informed about the Foundation's existence after the death of James Bold. Let me make this clear. The United States government was given custody of 035 after it was recovered. However, it is nearly impossible to contain safely. The United States government was given custody of 035 after it was recovered. However, it is nearly impossible to contain safely by normal means. To be blunt, our hands are tied. Somehow at the mercy of a random foundation that happens to know more than our world than we even do. But maybe we can learn to live in this strange world, no matter how dark it can be sometimes. And it's going to be difficult to adjust to this new way of life, but we will survive as we always have. The United States government will be keeping an extremely close eye on the SCP Foundation in the future. In addition, any direct missions between the Foundation and the United States government will be announced publicly. I am truly sorry for any trouble or secrecy is caused. The situation with SCP-035 has been a valuable lesson to all of us to be more transparent and to work with our fellow man and to inspire us to just be kind to one another. Oh, fuck.